No sooner had I finished making this Air Max 95 video, the Air Max 95 Japan, then bang, along comes today's video, which is the Air Max 95 LeBrons, or LeBron James, or Lakers, or Lakers LeBron, or LeBron James Lakers, or something along those lines. Let's just stick with LeBron. And it's a cracking looking shoe, but you know what? I didn't see it coming. I really did not see this coming, and I don't know how it slipped by me. I've got it just at the right time. March the 30th is the drop date, and this video will probably be going up around about March 14th or 15th, 2 weeks ahead of the drop date. Just fine for me to give you information about what's in the shoe, what makes it a great shoe, and what to look out for, including some absolutely classic tiny details that are absolutely unique to this shoe. I love when they mismatch the left and the right shoes. In fact, one of the first shoes I ever lined up for was a mismatched pair of dunks, so I like it when that happens. The details where that happens are super important, and there's one particular tiny little detail on these shoes that makes all of the difference. And then on top of that, not just in terms of the mismatched colors on the left and the right shoes, but also in terms of the secret hits of branding throughout. So we'll get into all that as we take a close-up look at today's release, which is the Nike Air Max 95 NRG LeBron. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください。Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And that, just saying that, the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel, I've said that for 840 consecutive days, no days missed, Saturdays and Sundays, every single day of the year for over 2.5 years now. I've brought you guys content every day, daily content about sneakers and upcoming sneaker releases, and it's always been Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. I just realized while I was saying that there are two secret, semi-secret 23s on this shoe, and it's going to be really weird to talk about that when it's partly the name of the channel. I did choose to put 23 in the channel because of LeBron's number, and of course because of the iconic Michael Jordan number as well being 23, and I wanted to draw attention to two of the biggest sneakers or sneaker lines of all time. Of course, I think I'm right in saying the Jordans are now up at 35 and LeBrons are up at 18, so they have a history, longevity, and it's great to see that. And then I'll bring you those hits of 23 in these shoes later, but first we'll go down the line of looking at the colors. Basically, today's video is going to be about the colours and how the colours mismatch on the left and the right shoes, and then it's going to be about the other hits that aren't anything to do with colours but are very much cool and unique to this shoe. So we'll get into all of that today. So let's do that. So basically you look at the pair behind here and you can see that it's a mismatched pair with the left shoe being gold and the right shoe being purple. Now we got into this recently with the LeBron James 18, the Nike LeBron 18 home, or home colors, whichever way you want to go with that, very white shoe. Some kind of hits of gold on there, but they called it Amarillo. And I asked the question in that video as to whether or not the Lakers colors are gold or Amarillo officially. Most people say gold, but I've got a feeling it's actually Amarillo. We talked about that in that shoe, and we couldn't find the purple in that shoe either. So then here we are today with a very Lakers shoe. I mean, you can't escape this, and the balance between the two colors is very even. It's not like predominantly gold to represent home or predominantly purple to represent away. It's very balanced between the two shoes. And so looking at them as a whole, basically there's three things I want to point out to you guys at home. The first is, yes, mismatched with the left shoe having gold on it and the right shoe having purple on it. Second, if we look in close at those colors, and hopefully I'll be able to find a way to show you this here, it's a gradient, as Air Max 95s often are, with that horizontal line that runs through the length of the shoe, but gradient from a deeper, darker gold lower down on the upper that gradually gets lighter the higher you get. And then a very unique feature on these shoes is when you get to the highest layer on that row after row after row of horizontal layering, it's black mesh and not another piece of leather or not another solid material. It's a very breathable mesh material at the top of that continuous line of layers there, which is unique and very, very cool and fits very nicely with the shoe. So basically that's point number two about this look from far away, is the gradient of the colors as they gradually fade and then jump into finally at the very highest point of the shoe, that black mesh. And then the final thing to look at is the eyelets, if we can call them eyelets, because eyelets eyelets to me are usually holes that you thread a lace through and not a loop that you kind of thread a lace through, but we'll call them eyelets and focus on the fact that on the yellow shoe they're purple, and on the purple shoe they're yellow, or I should say gold shoe, they're purple, and the purple shoe they're gold, and that's the detail, that's the mismatched detail that we need to get into to understand these shoes a little bit better. So we're going to look at that first, and I think I'm going to find a way to sort of go through those mismatched colours and finish at the place that I can then come back through the shoe and look at those hits and secret details that are on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my favourite mismatch feature of these shoes, which is the branding up on the tongue. And I said at the start of this video, there's one little detail that makes all the difference, and it's on this tongue branding here. So first things first, let's look at the construction of that and get an idea of what's going on. So you've got an outer oblong ring that wraps around an inner Air Max branding, and part of that Air Max branding is a unique King James crown in there. And the detail that I like in here is the outer ring. I like that the outer ring matches the colour of the upper. So in the gold shoes, gold outer ring, and in the purple shoes, a purple outer ring. But then to one side of the branding, you've got another colour as a sort of backdrop or a background that is in the other colourway, and then towards the middle of that, you've got the branding with that King James crown in there, which does match the upper and the color of the upper. So those three things together are just a really sweet detail. They've really taken their time to choose which colors are going in there, which ones are going to be mismatched, and which ones are going to match up with the other ones. So it's really a sweet piece of design, a very clever piece of design at the top of the shoe and that tongue there. And it's semi-repeated, but in a less sort of obvious way when you go back and look at the heels on these guys. So here's a look at the heels on them, both heels together. You can see that the purple shoe has a gold heel on it with purple branding in it, and then the gold shoe has a purple heel on it with gold branding in it. Very, very nice. Really just beautiful balance between the two shoes. And like I said, when it comes to mismatched shoes, it's one of my favorite things in sneakers. And then the final thing in this color part, we'll get into the other details in a minute, is looking at the outsole. And the first thing I want to look at the outsole is that middle panel on there, and take the first thing, like I said, the first thing is to think about the colors. We'll get to what's written in there and the rest of the outsole in a minute in terms of branding, but in terms of colors, looking at that middle branding, it's sort of long, it's almost like a sort of eye squinting at you. That long eye effect on there is mismatched with the colors as well. And that reminds me, I'm sorry I have to jump away before going into those details about the hits of branding. Let's have a look at the heel and look into the air units. We already looked up high on the heel, but if you drop it down low and look into the air units, you can see that the air units are mismatched as well. It's gold on one, purple on the other. A really nice little touch, completing that very clear mismatch sort of balance between the two shoes. But if we go back to that outsole and stay with that the mismatched color of that center branding panel, now we get on to the hits on the shoe and the important details on the shoe. And the first thing to draw your eyes to is that down the middle of that little branding panel on the shoes, the outsoles there, you can see some career highlights written in there. Things like MVP, Finals MVP 4 times, I think is one. Rookie of the Years, I think another one. So there's a lot of detailing about career highs from LeBron's career in the middle of the shoe there. But then if you come forward from that, you get to the first of the 23s that I talked about. There are two as far as I know, and this is the first one there. You can see that it's a semi-translucent black outsole, so you're already in my wheelhouse, and I'm loving that. And then on each shoe, and one on the, I think it's the left, it has the 2, and on the right it has the 3 that go together to make that 23, and you can see that through that semi-translucent outsole. Very, very cool. I love that detail on the shoe. And then the other 23 we'll go and have a look at before looking at some other hits on the shoe is up on the tongues. Now the Air Max 95s have an interesting sort of sleek curve effect going on down the middle of the tongues, and it's lost a little bit because it's black on black, but you'll be able to see on the close up on the green screen here that there's a 23. Again, I think I'm right in saying it's 2 on the left shoe, and actually with the right shoe, and 3 on the left shoe, but as you look at it, the left and right, if you know what I'm saying. So that's your other sort of hidden hit of 23 on these shoes. And then is this the last thing? Nope, there's 2. First I want to quickly look at the lateral swoosh that you find right towards the back end of the ankle, and you don't find a swoosh on the medial side of these guys. On both pairs of shoes. It's a silver swoosh, very small, very discreet with a black outline. They didn't play with the mismatched colours on there, which I thought was kind of a surprise. And then the other last thing I think to look at is the aglets on the end of the laces, and you can see right here, in fact it's probably right here, the King James crown emblazoned on there to give it an extra little hit of detailing that just finishes off this shoe. I'm saying these guys are pretty much perfect. I don't think they've put a foot wrong on here. I think they've got everything absolutely right in the right place in terms of the colours being mismatched and the details as much as the big colours, but also the little details like on the tongues up there. And then also the branding and the difference between the left and right shoes with the 23s on there, the aglets on there, the outsoles with their interesting designs and colours on there. So it's just a great shoe, a really, a stellar addition to the Nike Air Max 95 line. It's going to be a big one, I think. So a big yes for me. Didn't see the shoe coming, like I said at the top of this video, but very happy to bring it to you guys, and hopefully you appreciate that look at these guys. It's a bit early, like I said, March 30th, and this video is probably going to go up on March 14th or 15th. So you're talking 2 weeks ahead of the drop date, which is pretty much the limit of where I want to be. So hopefully you appreciate that, enjoyed this video, learned some stuff about the shoe, and maybe even thought about whether you want to get your hands on them or not. For now though, time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say the same thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is I do this every single day, and that means you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.